Hey folks, my name is John Lay and welcome back to the channel. Now on Friday, I already shared a video about the Universal Basic Income and the Emergency Disaster Relief Funds. Today is going to be part 2 of that video. Now before we proceed with today's video, I want to do a quick recap first. Now the UBI is supposed to be a new form of social welfare program. At least according to the idea behind the UBI, it's supposed to be an income that every citizen of a country receives from the government. The idea behind it, of course, is to provide some sort of economic stability to the entire citizenry. Now, in South Korea, the UBI is still considered an extreme measure. So, although the idea is still being debated by politicians and academics around the country, because it is still considered extreme, the South Korean government decided to go with the emergency disaster relief funds in order to respond to the global pandemic. The problem, as you might be able to imagine, is that the pandemic has not gotten any better. And that has led to some rather heated debates within the South Korean government over whether or not there should be a second round of emergency disaster relief funds. There were those who believed that the South Korean government should be much more cautious, and no one represented that camp much more succinctly than former Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon. Now, Prime Minister Lee believed that the South Korean government should be much more cautious. Now, until just a few days ago, Prime Minister Lee said that it would be much more difficult for the government to provide a second round of these funds, because unlike the first time around, the second round of the emergency disaster relief funds would require the South Korean government to go into debt. Now, since he mentioned that D word, debt, he has not brought it up since. But today, on September 6, 2020, Prime Minister Lee, who is also serving as the leader of the current ruling party, the Minju Party, announced that the South Korean government will be providing a second round of emergency disaster relief funds. However, there was a caveat in the announcement. Unlike the first round, which was given to every citizen in the country, the second round of emergency disaster relief funds will be a bit more selective. Only those that the government deems to be the most vulnerable would be eligible for these funds. Those that the government deems to be the most vulnerable are the unemployed, those who are under the poverty line, and small businesses that hire fewer than 5 people, freelancers, etc. etc. And this has led to a bit of a storm in South Korean politics. Enter Gyeonggi Governor Lee Jae-myeong. Now, whereas Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon was the one who advocated a much more cautious approach, Governor Lee Jae-myeong was the one who believed that everyone should be eligible for the second round as well. Now, it is important to bring up that both Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon and Governor Lee Jae-myeong are members of the same ruling party. They are both members of the Minju Party. But Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon outranks Governor Lee Jae-myeong. Prime Minister Lee is the party's leader. Lee Jae-myeong, being the good party member that he is, announced publicly that he will side with the government's decision. But he did not do so all that quietly. While Governor Lee Jae-myeong did say that he was going to side with the government, he made his opposition quite clear. He wrote a message on his Facebook page, and he said that he was afraid of what might come later. He said that by giving the second round much more selectively than the first time around, this will cause resentment. He said that the thing that the public hates more than just poverty is inequality. He said that over time, as people see how the second round will be much more selective, this will build up anger and resentment, and that this anger and resentment will be aimed toward the party and toward the president himself. This has ruffled some feathers within the ruling Minju Party. Because you see, there is no chance that the opposition party is going to win big in the next elections, unless something catastrophic happens anyway. And so right now, it is assumed, it is a given, that the Minju Party is going to retain its majority in the National Assembly, and it will retain control of the Blue House in the next election. Governor Lee Jae-myeong knows this. And because he knows this, by distinguishing between himself and the rest of the party establishment, he is now trying to shore up as much votes for him as possible. He is trying to gain so much support among the voters that he wants to compel the party to have no choice but to nominate him when the time comes for the next presidential election. Now, Governor Lee Jae-myung's strategy is a bit transparent, but there's a very good chance that it will work. Prime Minister Lee Nak-yeon is a bit more cautious, and although being cautious is not a terrible trait within a politician, it's not something that voters are all that enthusiastic about. So if you're interested in South Korean politics, and you want to know what a post-Moon Jae-in presidency might look like, looking into Nak-yeon and Jae-myeong might be in your best interests. Alright, that about wraps it up. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like and subscribe buttons and the notification bell. And if you want to leave a comment, please feel free to leave them down below. My name is John Lee, and I'll see you all next time.